let's talk to the person who's in charge of making sure that we have access to that technology. And this is the Cabinet Secretary for ICT and the Digital Economy, the Honorable Eliud Owalo. Good morning.
Morning to you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Mambo namna gani?
Safi.
Karibu sana.
Shukran. This
is Kenya's biggest conversation. It's good of you to be back on the hot seat in the new year.
Good.
Yeah. Waziri, to welcome you to the conversation, City has the day's proverb. City, this week's proverbs are from the Republic of Kenya.
Yes, they are.
And they are in Kiswahili. Mm-hmm. What we want you to do is listen to the proverb. First of all, give us the English translation of that proverb, and then give us your interpretation of it.
Okay.
City, go.
Yes, chura hana manyoya.
Chura hana?
Manyoya.
Bas.
I'm not the best in that space.
But at least you know what chura is.
I'm not the best in that space.
We're not letting you go, Waziri. Yes, endelea tu. Chura unajua.
Yeah.
Yes, anyone who went to school in Kenya knows Kiswahili.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not the best in that interpretation.
Nonetheless, do what you can.
Yeah.
Yes.
How would you say it in English? Chura hana manyoya.
Chura has no beard.
Good.
Yeah.
See, it's a good attempt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and that one is new. We've not heard of that one.
Chura hana ndevu. What do you think the proverb means?
That's a hard nut to crack.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hard nut to crack.
City's idea.
You know, I am going to.
Yeah.
I can see the wheels moving and saying chura hana. Surely, of course, chura hana. So what are we saying?
What is this?
What is this? Well, they're saying, you could interpret it as saying a frog doesn't have feathers, a frog doesn't have fur, because unasema kuku ndio kuna manyoya.
Yes.
Yes. Now, there are certain things which are patently obvious.
Yes.
There are some which are not.
Yeah.
Now, when a proverb refers to something which is obvious, what do you think they're leading you towards?
The normal.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You're being told. It's like you've heard of the saying. It's an English saying. Do pigs fly?
Mm.
You see, now pigs don't fly. So when someone asks that question, they're telling you, look, surely, can you not see that this is clear and obvious? Same. Chura hana manyoya.
It's an obviosity.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Huh?
It is.
It?
Yeah. It is. Yes.
Completely obvious.
Yes.
It's been a long 1 year.
Yes.
Plus a couple of months for you in office.
Yes.
In the Ministry of ICT and the Digital Economy.
Yes.
We have talked to you several times here.
Yes.
On the work that your ministry is doing.
Yes.
Even since then, you've sent your PSs here. We've talked about the work that the ministry is doing.
Yes.
And digital economy is one of those, is the enabler to the plan.
Everything else
of the Kenya Kwanza government.
Yes.
When you talk about universal health coverage,
yes,
you need to have the digital superhighway.
Yes.
When you talk about affordable housing, it comes in. When you talk about agriculture and employment and food security, it also comes in there.
Absolutely.
But has it come in there, Waziri?
Well, we are on the right trajectory. 1 year down the line, we have made fundamental progress. Within that digital superhighway, we anticipated that we would roll out 100,000 kilometers of fiber optic cable over the next 5 years, establish and operationalize a total of 25,000 free Wi-Fi hotspots, set up 1,450 digital hubs, and then also digitize government records and digitalize government services.
Yes.
So far, as we speak, we have managed to roll out 8,462 kilometers of fiber within the first 1 year. Now, this is against a target of about 20,000 kilometers per year. Now, the delay in procurement of the service providers, because you know that we have got protracted procurement procedures, led to a situation where we only onboarded these people to mid last year. Okay, but so far we have not only onboarded a total of 16 contractors to roll out the fiber, but we have also reached out to other public sector entities in the business of fiber, namely Kenya Pipeline, Ketraco, Kenya Power, just to mention but a few. Kenya Railways is another one. And we have agreed on how we are going to roll out the 52,000 kilometers of fiber as government and 48,000 kilometers of fiber as private sector, with clear roles and responsibilities, timelines, and performance indicators. So I would say without fear of contradiction that we are on the right trajectory, because one other challenge we faced at the beginning in this regard was funding. As we speak, we have managed to get some funding from the World Bank. We have also managed to get some funding from the Universal Service Fund that is going to facilitate the rollout of the fiber in earnest. Now, when it comes to the free Wi-Fi hotspots, as we speak, we have managed to roll out 1,261 free Wi-Fi hotspots. Again, deliberately and consciously, we have reached out to private sector independent internet service providers to partner with us to facilitate fast tracking of the rollout of the 25,000 Wi-Fi hotspots. What we want to do is to offload excess capacity within our North B infrastructure to the internet service providers. And then we get into a working relationship so that they, within their areas of jurisdiction, roll out the fiber and also facilitate the maintenance of the roll out the internet connectivity and also facilitate maintenance of the internet with clear service level agreement, so that whenever there is any downtime, God forbid, then that has to be addressed almost instantly in all the free Wi-Fi hotspots that we are rolling out all over the country. So again, we are in the right trajectory. When it comes to the digitalization of government services, when we came into office, we only had a meager 350 services about the e-citizen platform. As we speak today, we have managed to onboard 12,642 government services. So we have more than doubled the target that we had advised to roll out. So that one is almost a done deal. When it comes to the 1,450 digital hubs, we have so far rolled out 274 digital hubs. For a start, we started with the partnership with the TVET institutions. But moving forward, we now want to go mashinani. We are going to roll out a digital hub in each and every ward in this country. The ward is the lowest administrative unit within our administrative setup. We have managed to get into a partnership with the legislature, courtesy of the national government CDF funds, to the extent that they have facilitated a review of the CDF Act that would enable the members of parliament in each constituency use a threshold of 3% of annual allocation of CDF to facilitate construction of premises and also payment of utilities such as electricity. So, in a nutshell, moving forward, the members of parliament in each and every ward in each constituency all over the country will give us a facility where we can deploy the devices. As national government, we will go ahead and deploy devices. We will facilitate training for the youth for free. And also, deliberately and conscious as government, we are going to link up those students or those trainees with global technological companies for purposes of digital jobs. Just within the 274 digital hubs that we have rolled out so far, we have managed to train a total of 390,000 youth and created a total of 119,000 digital jobs. It is unbelievable for this country that a boy who left Form 4 last year, today, having gone through this training, can be onboarded on a digital job earning up to an equivalent of even 200,000 Kenya shillings per month.
Waziri, can I ask you, this is because obviously one of the big issues, one of the big ticket items for Kenya today is unemployment, the unemployment issue.
Yes.
So now here we are looking at a situation, according to you, whereby almost 400,000 young people trained. What skills are they being trained in, and what mechanisms then are you using to match them for these jobs that were previously unavailable? Skills
which are available within the creative economy. That's what we are targeting. You see, the biggest problem we have in this country is churning out millions, if not thousands, if not millions, of youth in various disciplines which do not meet the demands of the job market. So in this area, there are a lot of opportunities. Things like gaming, things like animation. There are a lot of opportunities in the digital space which require digital job. And Kenya has got enormous potential based on our skills, competencies, and capabilities resident within our youth. We have got enormous potential in the digital space for purposes of these digital jobs. Just for purposes of illustration, in each and every digital hub that we are going to roll out in the country, we are capable of training 300 youth and creating a corresponding number of jobs.
In
300
Kenya.
jobs. In Kenya here. On average, each constituency has got 5 wards. So in each and every constituency, we are capable of creating 1,500 digital jobs. If you talk to the members of parliament, and I'm aware you interview them here every other day, they will tell you that one of the greatest pressures they face is the issue of getting jobs for their youth. We want to change the paradigm. We are not going to have rural-urban migration by the youth in search of jobs. We want to create the jobs right there in the villages. And it is an unbelievable, mind-boggling actually, that you will find a situation where we will be having youth right there in the villages, not traveling to America to work in America, but working for American companies, German companies, companies in Singapore, India, right there in the village and earning in dollars. Yeah.
I was hoping that I would be hearing from you, Waziri.
Yeah.
Is you coming here with case studies and examples of the youth that have not moved from their rural homes to urban areas, but are already working because of the efforts that you've done, because of the 8,000 kilometers of fiber optic, because of one of the 1,261 free Wi-Fi hotspots, because of the 274 digital hubs. We have this.
These statistics are available.
So that it's not tutafanya,
No. We are not talking. I'm telling you what we have done. The jobs, I've told you the jobs we have created. I've told you the youth we have trained. And we have launched all these digital hubs over the past 1 year.
Are you saying, Waziri, when it comes to those jobs, that today you can say that there is some permanent or regular employment of X number of youth?
119,000, not X.
119,000 youth who are
in the digital space,
employed in the digital space,
and that information
as a direct result of this
digitalization work. And those statistics I can provide on request, including the exact locations.
Do you have one like you can give us? I'm sure you have.
Where we launched where His Excellency the President launched the first digital hub at Kabete Training Institute. We have got youth there who are earning an equivalent of 200,000.
What are they doing?
What jobs are they doing?
They are involved in animations, in games, basically jobs within the creative economy. We have launched similar.
Is it regular? Is it a one-off?
No, you see, it depends on how hard you work. The amazing thing with this concept we have invented is that the youth start, as they get trained, they start earning when they are still being trained. Okay? So it moves you from a learner to an instant earner. So these are case examples. And it's something that even you people, the media, can go out and verify objectively and independently. Go to Kabete, TVET, you will get the youth working there. Go to the Dan Kimathi University, you will get the youth working there. We have done the same in Makueni, we have done the same in Kitui, we have done the same in Mombasa, we have done the same. The
institutions you're mentioning, Waziri, were there even before? But they didn't have the digital hubs. They didn't have the digital hubs. I told you for a start on the pilot stage, we partnered with the Ministry of Education through the TVET to set up the hubs. But now moving forward, this year, beginning this year, we are focusing on the village digital hubs within the wards. Based on this partnership, this law, the amendment to the CDF Act, was passed just late last year, around November. And the President assented to that bill in December. So we are now moving out to operationalize within the digital hubs. But I've given you case examples of what has been done so far, courtesy of that partnership between our ministry and the Ministry of Education through the TVETs.
Okay. Yeah. I want to go back, because this, for me, is a big deal.
Yes.
When we're talking about this digital skills training that has been made available for almost 400,000 young people, I want to stick on that for a while. Because if we had a young person who had nothing, and then get skills training by the government of Kenya, and then is now earning upwards of 150,000 shillings, 200,000 shillings.
200,000 shillings, yeah.
Well, see, that's a big deal.
And we are documenting this.
And
we are developing a documentary to show this, what we have done all over. It's now work in progress. What we have done all over the country.
Real, actual, blood-thumping Kenyans.
Actual jobs, Kenyan youth.
And these individuals are earning this amount of money around the country.
Yes.
And it is essentially making a change in their lives economically as individuals,
and even the local
touching
community,
on the local communities.
Yes.
And yet we have not heard this but from you.
But that's why I'm here to tell you what we have done. That's why I'm here. I'm telling you what we have done. And I'm telling you to augment this. My coming here, we are in the process of developing a documentary which will reach out to you people, the media, to help us air so that Kenyans can see this amazing innovation that we have created. It is a major, to me, it's a game changer.
It is.
It is a paradigm shift. And I'm telling you, moving forward, you will not see the youth moving from the rural areas to the urban centers in search of jobs, because we'll be creating the jobs right there in the village. We are documenting this through a documentary. Life examples.
Not every youth is ICT savvy, and not every youth wants to be to work in that particular field.
Yeah.
However, even those who don't want to work, the training that you're talking about, what is it exactly, and how is it that you're getting people to actually get trained? Because if people who had no interest in ICT see the opportunity, understand the opportunity, and get trained, then what you're saying would make absolute sense. So how is this training being made available? What are the numbers of people who have been trained, and what is it that they're actually being trained in specifically?
You know, there are digital jobs in this digital space which require experts in animation, in gaming, so it's a customized training geared towards meeting the demands of the digital job market. And we have got service providers who are partnering with us to facilitate this training. It is a customized training which is aligned to the demands of the job market. So it is not just the traditional training that you are training people and after that they go out to look for the jobs. No, you train somebody based on a need. Training to me is only feasible based on an objective training needs assessment. In this instance, we have undertaken beforehand an objective training needs assessment in the digital space to get to know what the digital space demands by way of jobs. And that is what the youth are being trained in.
What are the numbers? The people
we have trained 390,000. And correspondingly, we have created 119,000 jobs so far.
Who's conducting the training?
We have different service providers, private sector players who are partnering with the ministry through
So what is this partnership? Are they contracted by the ministry to offer this training? Are they licensed by the ministry to offer the training? And then they charge a fee?
They are partnering with Kwanza. Kwanza is our agency which is rolling out the digital hubs.
So, for example,
they are contracted by Kwanza.
If now that we have the law amended for CDF, if MPs get this money, and this year we start seeing those digital hubs at ward level, who is going to go to Kimana Ward in Loitoktok, Kajiado South to offer this training to the youth?
We have, for a start, through this pilot phase, we have got private sector players. But now we are moving forward. In fact, this week, the Treasury has also released money to the State Department of TVET to roll out the same training. So we are going to have a training of trainers initiative facilitated by the Ministry of Education through the State Department of TVET, so that we have got a critical mass of trainers in this space.
So once the trainers come to the ward level, and the youth then get the training,
is
there somebody who's helping them to get access to these jobs? Is it formalized, or are they then left to you?
No.
Have technology, you have the skill, now you get yourself a job.
You know, this is an initiative which is spearheaded. This digital job identification is an initiative that is spearheaded by His Excellency the President himself. That has actually been part and parcel of his agenda in most of the places he's been going to. He's gone to Germany, he's gone to Belgium, and he's visited the USA, and he has deliberately and consciously, as part of his itinerary, been meeting these global technological companies. Just the other day again, he was in India. One of the cogs in these discussions has been identification of digital jobs. How do we get these global technological companies to provide jobs for our youth?
So how is that happening? I want to see how this 119,000 youth
Yes.
got the jobs that's paying them over 100,000 shillings.
You know, the job
it
is done on your computer.
Is there a portal that
there's a portal on your computer, on the computer there?
Okay.
Okay. So you go there and click, yeah, based on the skills and your areas of interest, you click their jobs. Yeah. And then you get the options for the jobs, what you want to do. Then you click where your interest is. You will get the what opportunities of jobs are there. And then you go ahead and work. It is electronic.
Who's managing the portal?
The portal is being managed through Kwanza.
So who's uploading the job opportunities on this portal? Kwanza.
Kwanza, yes.
How are they getting these job opportunities?
Based on the linkages and discussions and stakeholder alliances and partnerships that has been spearheaded over the years with global technological companies.
Like which one?
Google.
So there are some Google jobs on this portal.
Yes.
That the Kwanza people are uploading here.
Yes, Amazon.
So this youth goes onto this particular portal.
Yes.
They say jobs.
Yeah. And they click jobs and they get the options which are available.
And then they can choose Amazon.
They can choose. I wish it was loaded here. We'll do it.
What's the portal? We're going to actually do it.
Right now,
if it was available here, then we will.
What's the portal?
We will get there.
So, Ndu, you have the portal Waziri was telling us about. It's a Jitume portal.
Yes, the Jitume portal. That's what she's trying to access.
Jitume.konza.go.ke. Well, if you're listening, you can go on as well to jitume.konza.go.ke. It requires you to register, and then you'll be signing in.
Yeah.
And once you sign in, then you have access to all these services.
The jobs, and then you choose the options which are available.
Choose the option, and so for you to register, you need to have been trained. Must you have been trained in this particular training program, or can anybody register?
You should have gone through, or ideally you should have gone through the training so that you have got the requisite skills.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I believe that to access the register, there has to be some authorization to access the link based on the requisite training.
It's those that have been trained, that then they know for sure that they have the skill. Then they'll access.
Skills,
You've been able to register quite a bit.
Right, so I've registered an account, which I was able to do that already.
Okay.
And so you get onto a dashboard. And this dashboard, from what we see now, talks about different trainings that you can then now access. Data engineering basics for everybody. It's kind of like, I guess, engineering for dummies. Big data and Hadoop essentials. Machine learning with Python. So it looks as though you must go here first and do this training.
Okay.
Yes.
Then there's a place, of course, where you can access your profile. Job platforms, I guess, is the one that everybody's interested in. And let's look at the platforms list. And so, indeed, it looks like some that folks would be used to, things like Upwork and Freelancer, Transcribe, Go Transcript, etc., etc. Data science, analytics, the Amazon that you talked about. So how about we click on that and see?
Let's click on Amazon.
Let's click on Amazon
Mechanical.
Right? So this would be a job that you would essentially be able to do, or one of the ones that Waziri tells us. Well, now we can't touch that because, an error has occurred. So let's go back and see what else is...
engineering and architecture, local work in Kenya, micro workers.
Let's go to that local work in Kenya.
You want this? Well, okay.
We see what's there.
So we go back here. Local work in Kenya.
Local work in Kenya.
Where were you?
Kuhasol.
The left there.
Kuhasol here.
Yeah.
Kuhasol. Okay.
Kuhasol. Yeah. Okay. You see?
So here, you can.
The jobs, you'll be able to access the jobs which have been posted.
You can post a job.
See there's over 1,000 jobs posted there. And you can see the range of the earnings from 32,000 to 920,000 worth of jobs, dollars worth of jobs.
So let's browse jobs of what are available at the moment. Web developers wanted. So freelancers, virtual assistants with experience in digital marketing needed. And these are all jobs that are available in Kenya. Right? So let's say I wanted to apply for this one, a virtual assistant with experience in digital marketing needed. So with the job budget of 20,000 to 50,000 shillings, and you could apply and send a quote. This looks like it's a bid. You bid for this work. If you have the best bid, then you say, look, I can do it for 30,000 shillings. If you get it, they give it to you.
Yeah.
If you meet the qualification. So basically, it's like an application.
Yes.
You apply for this particular job, and then
and
they
at
choose
some
you.
point, I believe then the application would ask you about your skills and competencies to see whether or not you have the requisite skills to be able to do the job.
Okay.
Okay.
So what we're saying though is that we don't actually, Waziri, have individuals who are getting onto these sites, and you see work that you can do regularly every day that would equal in a month 200,000. It's a maybe situation. It's not a guarantee.
No, we have a range. It's not that it has to be 200,000. It can offshoot that. It can be under that. It depends on how hard you work and the time you create. You see, these are actually students, okay? Not that they are doing this full time.
Okay.
Like in the Tibets where we have already installed the devices.
Yeah.
These boys and girls are doing this during their free time when they are not having the other lessons. So it depends on how much time also you create and how hard you work.
And you can take up more than one job.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
It depends on the amount of time you have at your disposal. And you can do it at any given point in time. So the other game changer with this digitalization agenda is that we can easily turn Kenya into a 24-hour economy. Because this is something you can do from wherever you are, at whatever time, as and when you have that time available at your disposal. Is what I'm saying making sense to you, Latiff?
Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah.
For me, it is making sense.
Because you can work from anywhere at any given point in time when you are free.
If all these other things are working.
So
if you have
our
access to
digitalization
internet and all.
agenda is a critical success factor towards turning Kenya not just into a digital economy, but also a 24-hour economy.
True. Siti, you were saying?
No, I'm saying it makes perfect sense. And if this thing is to benefit as many Kenyans as possible, yes, and then it does stand to reason that if some of the facilitation mechanisms and networks and infrastructure
is in place.
Yes, and it's in place right across the country.
Yes.
Then you are reaching out to the entire country, and you are reaching out to a very large number of young people who might otherwise have been limited if this thing was not available. Because in the absence of internet services, specifically the free one, then this thing becomes an impossibility for very many rural areas.
So a prerequisite is the digital infrastructure. You must have fiber, you must have internet connectivity. And that now justifies the rationale of our pursuit of the 100,000 kilometers of fiber, the pursuit of the 25,000 Wi-Fi hotspots. Another end result of this would be, once these youth have done enough work and have earned enough money and they have got surplus, they are going to be transformed from job seekers to entrepreneurs. Because you have gotten the skills, you have earned enough money, then you go and set up your own hub there then in the village and employ other people. You become an entrepreneur within a very short span of time as opposed to a job seeker. Yeah.
Waziri, Kenyans are ready.
Yeah.
Okay?
We are determined to deliver this.
The infrastructure and the role of the infrastructure. If you've done 8,000 of the first 20,000 kilometer targets, and you've been able to do 8,000, you're saying the 8,000 was because of the challenges of one, procurement and the long procurement process.
The funding, which we have now largely sorted out. There's a problem of funding. We have gotten some funding from the World Bank courtesy of the what is called the Kenya Digital Economy Acceleration Program.
Is it sufficient to do 20,000 kilometers per year?
Not sufficient, but it's good enough to enable us at least do the first phase. As we do this, we are also seeking additional funding. What we are not doing is to wait, because we are working against a background of austerity measures in government. We know that resources are limited. So we are not just going to sit there and wait until we get funding from the National Treasury. So we are being innovative and creative. In our view, strategic alliances and partnership is key. Input of the private sector is also key in this regard. We can't do everything as government. If everything we have planned to do can be done by the private sector and government only remains with the task of creating an enabling environment from a policy, legal and regulatory perspective, so be it. That's the approach we are taking.
One of the other sources of funding that you mentioned was a Universal Services Hub.
Yes.
Fund.
Yeah.
What's that?
The Universal Service Fund is a fund that is contributed by telecommunication companies at the point of getting licenses. they give out a proportion of there's some money that they are expected to pay to go towards facilitating universal access.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So what is universal access? Or first of all, what is the rationale of universal access? The issue here is that from a private sector perspective, there could be certain parts of the country which are not profitable for the telecommunication companies to roll out infrastructure.
Yeah.
The government then, while leveraging on the Universal Service Fund, comes in as an agent of necessity to do connectivity in those areas. If, for example, I'm just giving a hypothetical example, telecommunication companies have not rolled out fiber to Turkana. It would be in the interest of the government, because the people of Turkana are Kenyans, to facilitate connectivity in Turkana or Moyale or anywhere else, any other part of the country, for example. So it's meant a fund that is meant to assist close the gap, so that we are not just private sector, profit motivated.
Yeah.
There has to be universal access and universal connectivity.
How much is in the fund, and who manages the fund?
The fund is managed by the Communication Authority of Kenya, with very strict guidelines from the National Treasury as the custodian of government resources and public resources.
How much is in it?
As of now, we have got about 18 billion shillings.
So how regularly does it get refurbished?
Every year there's contribution from the telecommunication service providers, okay, by way of subscription, which goes into that fund.
Yes.
Okay, and it is not money which you'll just walk in and walk out with. It's not a supermarket approach. Yeah, there are very strict guidelines that have to be deployed to access that funding. It has to be within the scope and mandate. Any request to get approval must be within the scope and the mandate of the Universal Service Fund. As we speak, about 1 month ago, I did appoint a Universal Service Fund Advisory Council consisting of people with technical expertise, who scrutinize their proposal. So you'll make once the requests are made, they are processed in the normal manner through the Communications Authority of Kenya. They go to the Advisory Council of the Universal Service Fund. From there is when it goes to the board. So there are very stringent regulations. It's not just a supermarket approach where you walk in and carry. Yeah.
I want to move a bit onto the other sectors.
Yes.
Or under your ministry.
Yeah.
And one of those, of course, is in the communication space.
Yeah.
Telecom Kenya.
Yes.
There's been this conversation about, Telecom Kenya, so it's now owned by the government, now privatization. If you look at the number of licensed mobile network operators in this country, we only have Airtel, Safaricom, and Telecom.
Yeah.
Safaricom.
There's also Jamii.
And Jamii Telecom,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
Safaricom is so big.
Yeah.
It's the biggest company in Kenya and East Africa.
Yeah.
Telecom, which was the second licensed operator, how is it doing?
Well, it's doing how it's doing. It's trying its best in the market. You see, this is a market structure which is largely oligopolistic. Oligopolistic in the sense that we have got few players. And if there are few players, it is bound to have what you refer to in economics as cutthroat competition. Everybody tries to outmaneuver the other. So your survival largely depends on your level of creativity, innovation, strategic agility, and maneuverability. So the role of government really is to ensure that from a policy, legal, and regulatory framework, there's an enabling environment for everybody else to compete.
Yeah.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. But the government will not go out of its way now to start supporting one entity against the other competitors.
Okay. So
it is cutthroat competition. So your level of creativity, how innovative are you? What products are you producing, churning out into the marketplace? That is how you outmaneuver others. What is your pricing level? What is your marketing strategy? Those are the integral ingredients that will inform your survival in that oligopolistic market structure.
What is it that has ailed Telecom Kenya in such a way that it has changed investors so much? We've had Telecom government, we've had Telecom Helios, we've had Telecom Orange Telecom. Now we have Telecom. We hear there is some other interested party that's coming in.
I really don't want to speak on behalf of Telecom because it's not a parastatal under our ministry. It's a private sector organization. So we don't go down and get involved in the corporate governance of those institutions.
But right now it's owned by the government.
No. Who has told you it's owned by government?
Who owns it?
Telecom is a private company.
Did the government not pay money to Helios to own this thing?
How far did that transaction go?
We hear it was paid. Is that not what we heard?
You know, the thing is, we hear very many things about Telecom, but
did you hear 6 billion shillings or thereabouts?
That figure was floated, and that figure we heard and read about at great length. Are we saying the government doesn't have an interest in Telecom?
No, we have got some shareholding, but it is minimal shareholding. A company only becomes a parastatal if the government has got majority shareholding. As we speak, the courtesy of the National Treasury, government has got some shareholding in Telecom. But it is minimal shareholding, which means it is less than 50%. The majority... Come again?
Who else has shareholding in Telecom Kenya today?
No, that is a question that we should direct to the National Treasury. They should be better place to answer that. You see, as a professional, I don't speak in areas where I don't have the facts because I don't tell lies.
You see,
my interest from a policy perspective is that Telecom, have we created an enabling environment for the telecommunications sector
MNOs to
from
survive.
A policy, legal and regulatory perspective? But we don't really go down into issues of the shareholding. That is an operational issue.
Okay.
And if there are government interest in that entity, that is subject of interest to the National Treasury. If there are issues to do with competitiveness within the sector, that is an issue of concern and interest to the Competition Authority of Kenya.
Waziri,
yeah.
Has the government created that enabling environment for Postal Corporation of Kenya to thrive?
That's what I'm doing, and that's why I'm on this seat.
Is it thriving?
I'm turning that entity around with the support of everybody else within that institution and the ministry.
What does it need? Postal Corporation of Kenya.
E-commerce. It's as simple as that. We must move away from the traditional courier business that Postal has been accustomed to. The only avenue that we have is for Postal to become an e-commerce and logistics hub. Postal has got the widest network of facilities in this country, for purposes of logistics. As we speak, we are on the verge of acquiring a partner by way of e-commerce platform. We are also on the verge of, at the tail end of acquiring a service provider for a payment gateway. So we want to move away from the traditional way of doing business, and there's already fundamental progress in this regard. As we speak, Postal is now already doing last mile delivery of passport. Postal is doing last mile delivery of medical supplies, leveraging on the enormous infrastructure that it has. Postal has just gotten into a partnership with the Radio Africa Group to also do last mile delivery of newspapers and MyGov, lying therein. So there's a lot of potential, but it requires divergence in thinking. Okay? There has to be some level of creativity. We are determined to turn Postal into a logistics hub, leveraging on e-commerce. And to facilitate this, there's also fundamental work in progress. We already have a national addressing system, policy and bill ready, which I'm progressing to cabinet. Subsequent to that, it will go to parliament for purposes of enactment into law, so that we have got the requisite infrastructure from a technological perspective, and also a strong foundation on that can facilitate e-commerce, last mile delivery through e-commerce. So that is work in progress. We are determined to turn around that institution because Postal is a brand. And for whatever reason, if you talk to any Kenyan, every Kenyan appears to be sympathetic to the case of Postal. Everybody wants to see Postal thriving. For a start, a critical success factor would be also enhancing the staff motivation levels. When we came into office, we had got about 5 months salary arrears, which we have been struggling to offset. As at December, we managed to pay a whopping 435 million shillings to staff to clear all the salary arrears. And moving forward, I've given instructions to the management and governance of Postal that the first line item of expenditure every month should be staff salaries. I don't want to see a situation where we are lagging behind in settlement of payment of staff salaries. Yeah.
Something that you mentioned is an instrument or a channel or a tool that a lot of other countries are using, and that's when you talk about Postal being the poster child for e-commerce. The Amazon that you mentioned, they use the US portal service, postal service, to send goods around the continental US and then around the world. And all of these systems work in tandem. But the basic infrastructure is in place in order for such a thing to happen. Now, when you speak these words, it's exciting to hear. But then the hope is that the groundwork will actually be done for such things to happen. Because if you talk about salvaging the poster, that's one way in which it can happen. But for it to grow up from mere words to be an adult in action, the infrastructure worries me, because is it actually in place, or is it aspirational?
You see, we have got some dilapidated infrastructure that we have to work on. So part of this process should entail upgrading the existing infrastructure. Now, let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit at all levels. We have got plans. We have always had these plans since time immemorial, but the implementation level is what?
Zero.
Almost zero. And you have to be deliberate in whatever you want to do. And that requires leadership, transformational leadership. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. Because there are also people who are benefiting from that status quo and would want the status quo to prevail. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes if you are to change some of these things. So it requires leadership at all levels. And that's what we are determined to do as Kenya Kwanza government, led from the top. And I really want, with all due respect and honesty and humility, thank His Excellency the President, because he has enabled us, in fact, created an enabling environment for us to make decisions which we feel are right. He has told us every now and again that if you feel you are doing the right thing, go ahead and do it irrespective of the consequences. And that is what we are doing in our domains. In my ministry, I'm introducing fundamental changes. Let me give you another example. We have got certain entities within the information, communication, and technology sector which are operating on certain laws that were formulated 30 years ago.
Like which one?
Outdated. KBC is one of them. Okay? Yet, the operational environment and circumstances have changed. So recently, again, as part of this transformational process, I did constitute a sector working group to enable us look at, discern the changes, emerging issues in the operational environment, and come up with the recommendations that can enable us position all these organizations under our ministry strategically in the operational environment. And what I did, informed by the need of participatory approach, we involve all the requisite stakeholders in that industry. We are not doing it as government. The media sector is largely represented. That team, sector working group, has got a thematical area of media and information, and is headed by one of you, Tom Mushindi, a renowned journalist in this country. We have the president of the Editors Guild there. We have the chair of the Media Owners Association in there. So we have adapted a whole sector approach. How we are working as this ministry is not to face the challenges as a government, but to involve everybody in the sector so that we are part and parcel, everybody's part and parcel of this thought process, and we come up with solutions together.
We'll call you again, Waziri, when the team gives you a report, so we can then discuss the report and what needs to be done thereafter. But good for you to open the year with this particular interview and this particular conversation. You have an open invitation to come again to the Situation Room.
Anytime. But some closing remarks.
Yes.
We are determined to turn Kenya into an empowered and digital economy, which is the practice elsewhere. We will turn this country through digitalization
into an empowered
and digitalized economy, and by extension a 24-hour economy. And we are seeking the support of all stakeholders in this regard.
Asante.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.